Hi, JoBeth Evans here, and today I am with the organizer chick herself to talk about everything related to getting organized in college, getting your dorm organized, getting your life organized, doing all the things so that when you start school this fall, you have everything in order and you are set up for success. So today I'm here with Amber Taggard, who has the Organizer Chicks, and they do incredible work in Northwest Arkansas and beyond. And since the pandemic, have been doing organization virtually, which is great because if you've been on social media, you see that everybody's selling all their things in their house. They're getting rid of it because they're cleaning out. So, Amber, I want you to just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Why organization? Why does it matter? Why are you here? Why are you doing what you're doing?
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. And yes, like JoBeth said, my name is Amber Taggard, and I am a professional organizer. What a weird thing to do for a living. People are always like, how and why professional organizer. And for me, it was a lot of my personality, just even as a child.
Hmm.
I'm the firstborn, and I was that kid who just kind of always liked the rules and always appreciated order, and maybe was a little bit bossy. That was me. And then as I got older and I went to college, I knew that I wanted to do something that worked with people and that helped people, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I had a scholarship, and so I was like, well, I am going to college. I'm going to do
Hmm.
something. So I got an undergraduate degree in psychology, and then I started working on a master's of science in clinical mental health. So that's my graduate school degree. And it was actually while I was in grad school that I got really interested in productivity
Hmm.
and in barriers to productivity. And I came across a statistic that the UCLA Center for Everyday Family Life put out.
Hmm.
It said that the average American wastes 17 minutes a day looking for things they've lost or misplaced. And that was a proverbial light bulb moment for me. When I realized I don't have that problem. I'm not someone who runs around,
Hmm.
spending this time every day. And I'll tell you, the first thing I did, because I'm a giant nerd, was the math. 17 minutes a day. What does that equate to over the course of the average lifespan? And it ends up being, almost a full year, a full calendar year of just
Hmm.
wasted time and aggravation. It's additional 1,034 work shifts that we're creating for ourselves is kind of another way to look at that math. And so I'm like, how can we avoid 1,034 work shifts? Because this is the average American, right? It's
Right.
not someone who's has a heavy, course load in
Hmm.
college. It's not someone who's a busy mom. It's not someone who maybe is getting a little older and having difficulties with memory. So, but I really started thinking about why is it that I don't have this 17 minutes? And I also started thinking about the negative self talk that's going on during that 17 minutes.
Oh
It's
yeah.
we're quick to talk down to ourselves, right? And to kind of
Hmm.
say, oh, how am I supposed to go be a grown up when I can't even find my keys? So I decided to use my education and personality to become a professional organizer. And that's kind of where we're at. I started a company called The Organizer Chick, singular, in 2011. And it has just been such a fun, wild ride. Pretty quickly, I got busier than I wanted to be and was having to book people pretty far into the future. And so I thought, well, I'll bring on an assistant, and she'll take half the workload, and I'll take half. And but what happened is that she got just as busy as I was, and then we started being able to work on things together, and the power of the team really became obvious to
Hmm.
me. And so today there are 16 chicks in the flock of the
Oh my
organizer.
goodness.
Yeah, we pluralized the name back several years back and have locations, physical locations in Northwest Arkansas and Kansas City. And then you're exactly right. We're doing a bunch of, especially right now, doing a
Hmm.
bunch of online workshops for time management and for decluttering and for, helping your kids to learn to get organized, and really trying to just utilize that virtual space that's available to us, while typical person to person encounters might not still be advisable or comfortable for people. So yeah, what a weird thing to do for a living, right?
It does sound weird, like just right off the like just at the beginning, like, oh, you organize because it seems like it's one of those things that like people could do for themselves. It's something that they may like. You don't necessarily need somebody to tell you that if you want to always like. For me, I can never find a pen that works. I probably have 1,000 pens,
Right.
but they're never here, and they're never like I can never find them. And so I spend a lot of time, like you said, I had that exact thought the other day. wonder how
Mhm.
much time I waste just looking for a pen. But
Right.
it's not so much that we need to know how to organize, but we need somebody to walk us through it and to be there and give us some new ideas and, to just get the ball rolling. Because sometimes we just need that person to come in and be like, I know closet organization's a big thing you do, and people probably do need help with that. Like legit, because it's like,
It's overwhelming.
yeah, it is overwhelming. But you have so many good tips and so much good advice. So I want to bring this to the college girls because college girls are going from living in, 15, 2,000, 3,000 square foot home to living in a tiny dorm room. And so they're not bringing everything from home to college because they can't. So what are your tips? Because I'm thinking like, I see, as a college instructor, I see students who are unorganized with their time, with their thought, with their dates, their due dates and stuff,
Mhm.
totally unorganized with that.
Yeah.
And I would bet that their dorm is also very unorganized. So, what are your tips?
Yeah, and I think that's insightful. We know that when our external environment is chaotic and cluttered, that is going to have a reflection of what's going on in our internal environment. Our ability to focus, to pay attention, to memorize, and the things that we're listening to.
Hmm.
Our ability to have patience. To control our emotions. It's very closely tied to our physical spaces, and so yeah, I think it's very wise to look at this thing holistically, because that's the human experience, right?
Right.
Is we're impacted from all sides. So one, and I'll tell you this really quickly too. I lived in the dorm for 4 years worth of college. I came in on scholarship that paid for my
Mm.
house, and then I was a resident assistant and RA for my last 3 years of school. And so I have loads of dorm experience. So you're talking to somebody who totally
Yes.
gets it. I was not in a fancy dorm at all. I mean, it was just a little kind of sad little cinder block, room that was, 15 feet by 15 feet
Hmm.
square kind of thing. So, yeah, so I've been there and I have done that and I feel for you, but I'm here to tell you dorm life can be so amazing and so fun. And it's such a cool opportunity it's like the halfway house of adulthood, right? You're like stepping out into it and you have a space that's yours. Like it's truly yours.
Hmm.
You have the key to that door. And so this can be such a fun time. But one of the things that you have to know going in is exactly what you just said. You cannot bring it all and you shouldn't even
Hmm.
try.
Mm-mm.
Now, for most people, I would suggest you only bring the clothing that you're trying to wear in that particular season. So, unless
Yes.
home is incredibly far away, don't bring your winter stuff when you arrive in August. Now, obviously, if you're going to college in Canada, you may need to rethink that, but try to think seasonally,
Right.
um, and only have it because truly a dorm room in a closet is going to be incredibly small. It just is. So my camera's trying to fall on me here.
You're good.
So no, going into it, you're going to have to get really real with yourself. What do I need? That's the
Hmm.
question. What do I need to have on hand? And so one of my favorite tips and things to consider, and frankly, this is for any stage of life for anybody, but we
Hmm.
know that the National Association of Professional Organizers tells us that we're wearing 80, no, we're wearing 20% of our clothing 80% of the time. So when we go and we look at our closets and we have, these hundreds of items, we're only wearing 1/5 of those things the vast majority of the time we revisit things. So get really analytical. Ask yourself honestly, what am I already actually loving and using and wearing? And one thing I'm a huge fan of is what's called a capsule wardrobe. And
Yes.
so we help people. We actually have a designer, a stylist, a fashion designer on our staff. That's actually one of our chicks. And she helps people through this process and we do workshops on it. But what the whole concept of a capsule wardrobe is that everything in your wardrobe mixes, matches, and works well together. And
Mhm.
the math of a capsule wardrobe is amazing because it's exponential math. And so just want to like real quickly kind of walk you through the base bones of creating this capsule wardrobe. So the idea is that you're going to choose pieces that are going to mix and match well
Mhm.
together. So you're probably going to want to keep it fairly simplistic. You're probably not going to want to go with like, crazy, loads of colors, unless that's just your style, right? But the idea is that you start, and let's say maybe you pick out 3 bottoms and you pick out 9 tops. And you just want to make sure that every one of those 9 tops can be mixed and matched with those bottoms. So maybe you pick, a pair of jeans, a black legging, and a white pair of shorts for summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to want to look at your shirts and just say, what can I find that I already own? If we can avoid making more purchases, that's always fantastic. Let's shop our own closets. What can I find that's going to go with all those things that I can mix and match? And so then you're going to want to bring in maybe let's say 3 layering pieces. So maybe you want to bring in, a jacket and a duster and a cardigan so that you have some layering options. So if you just tried to make sure that everything you wear can mix and match, this shirt can be worn with any of these 3 bottoms, and I can mix and match any of these 3 top, layering pieces that I have. If you do that, those few pieces of clothing. So again, we have 9 shirts, 3 bottoms, and then 3 layering pieces. So what's that? 15 articles of clothing can give you 81 outfits. So if you're smart,
it's incredible.
It is incredible. The math of the capsule wardrobe is incredible. Maybe throw a little black dress in there for fun, because you can layer up your cardigans. You can throw a shirt over the top of your little black dress. You can even expand that even further. But yes, that's like the magical math of the capsule wardrobe, and you can play around with it. Maybe you're someone who doesn't need that many shirts, but you want a few more bottoms. I mean, do what you feel you have space for, but I think it's important to realize that you don't have to have it all to really create a bunch of looks if you're smart and if you're strategic about what you choose to bring in the first place. Another area that can be kind of difficult in the dorms is bathrooms. And dorms have come a long way. So my dorm situation was that common bath where there was 1 bath on each end of the hall, and 32 ladies all use the same bathroom, and you had you better have your shower caddy, right? So that's another thing, is just be aware of what your situation, with your bathroom is. You may be in a suite and have one right there with you. But one thing I would suggest, especially for, women, is you're probably not going to want to bring like your giant jumbo size of, shampoo and conditioner into and out of the shower every time. And maybe you want to bring those into your dorm room, but then go ahead and also bring just maybe even like some sample size bottles. Just fill those up from your room. And then that way you're not, going back and forth with, your giant caddy. Just again, it's a lot of thinking about, what do I need to have, not what all might I possibly use one of these days. Maybe let's drag that all around with me every time I go to take a shower.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I want to say something about going back to the capsule wardrobe, because I've taught college girls for 5 years now. And there's one thing that I know about them for the most part, and it's a generalization, but they care about sustainable clothing. It's a big, big deal, especially with the students who are in going into fashion industry. They want to be, reduce the pollution, reduce the amount of clothing in the landfills. So they are looking for ways to dress and still look good, because that is priority in college, for a lot of girls. You still want to look good. But they care about this. And if you're listening to this right now and you don't care, I want to encourage you to care and to take the next steps by using a capsule wardrobe. That's something that I'm working towards having, because I definitely wear 20% of my clothes. And my closet stresses me out. So it's definitely something I need to work on. But as I've had these students come through that are talking about the sustainability of shopping in thrift stores instead of shopping in stores, which, I mean, we can go there and talk about budget and how you spend your money too. But just wearing more things. I wear this black, if you watch any of my videos, I'm wearing this black shirt or a white shirt, because decisions too, right? So we talk about the organization of our space, but the organization of our minds, when we're not like, oh my gosh, do I wear this Razorback shirt or this Razorback shirt? Or do I wear that t-shirt for my sorority? Or do I wear, you're standing there and then you go take a test and you're already tired from deciding what to wear. It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. I am someone I've already told you, I'm a giant nerd. And I'm really in people and why we do the things we do, and kind of what the thought process is going on. And so when I heard that statistic about 20%, 80% of the time, I got really curious what's going on with that other 80%, of our
Right.
clothing. And so I started to do, over the course of 2 years, I started to really analyze and study what were the other, bits of clothing in the closets of my clients. And I found that there's a small percentage of items that are special occasion clothing. So it's a formal dress.
Right.
It is a beautiful winter coat that, yes, we're not going to wear often, but it's a keeper. It's something we might realistically use one of these days, a
Mm-hmm.
big piece that we will realistically use again for a very specific purpose, right? But I was really discouraged and just, as a woman, disheartened to find that about 50% of that clothing were items that were too small for the woman at that point in time. And
Mm.
so what's happening to the vast majority of women, at least in America, seems to be that we wake up in the morning and we walk into a closet that is probably cluttered, that probably makes us feel a little bit overwhelmed just on sight,
Mm-hmm.
that we probably are kind of like choking, out the rod space by having a lot of things shoved in
Mm-hmm.
there. And then every other thing that we touch is sending one ugly, rude message over and over again, first thing every morning: you're too fat. You're
Oh
not
my
the right
gosh.
size for me. You don't fit in me. And there's a bully in the closet, and it's you. And that's not acceptable. And
Right.
so I'm a big proponent of saying, I'm not saying give up on the dream. You'll never reach your perfect. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is that you need to give yourself permission to say, I don't allow anything on my closet rod that's a bully. If it
Oh
makes
my
you feel bad
gosh.
about yourself, it's got to go. You're not giving up on the dream. You can pack it up and let it sit somewhere else. But your closet rod needs to greet you as a friend every morning, a personal boutique of items that fit your beautiful, wonderful, functional body at this stage in your life. And you need to give yourself permission to be stingy with that space and to require a lot of it. And first and foremost, that the things that greet you there in the morning are your friends.
Mm. You're speaking to me. Because my closet is so awful. And like, it's kind of like sleeping, like investing in a good bed. We're getting a
Yes.
little off topic, but investing in a good bed, you spend so much time there. And it's similar with your closet. You're going to wear clothes every day. Most of the time, you're going to wear more than one outfit a day. Like I do workout clothes, then go out clothes, and then possibly even work clothes that I go out and
You
work in.
capsules, right?
Yeah, and so it's like every time I go in there, it's not a good feeling. So why am I doing this to myself, Amber?
Right. Because you're a normal human. Congratulations, you're normal. That's okay. A lot of us are, but it's kind of that thing where once we know better, we can do better. And once
Right.
it's brought to your attention that, like, oh my gosh, I am that person. I'm that normal person who's
Mhm.
into a situation that, another interesting thing is that we know that when humans see cluttered spaces, even when they're not our own, even if we see pictures of clutter, our cortisol level, which is a neurotransmitter that does a lot of good things for us, but one of the negatives that it can do in excess is to really
Mhm.
help high stress levels, lots of negative impacts on blood pressure, just lots of ugly things. The Mayo Clinic has actually gone so far as to say that excess cortisol over time can disrupt, quote, all of the body's natural processes. So we want as little excess cortisol in our life as possible. And we know that when we see clutter, when we see it even, we have that spike in cortisol level. And you probably won't be surprised to learn that women experience a statistically significantly higher spike in cortisol than men do when they see clutter. It's probably no surprise there. So we're being adversely affected by our physical environment, whether we recognize it or not. And I think we've all had that experience where we're just low on patience, and we're feeling off and we're feeling funky today and we're not happy, and maybe we don't even know why. And
Mhm.
some of us have kind of figured out, if I'm in a funk like this, I'll start to clean, I'll
Mhm.
tidy, I'll take control of my physical environment. And a lot of people, we've never quite put our finger on it, but taking control of that physical space absolutely will positively impact what's going on with us internally. And so that's, to me, that is a powerful thing to learn and to embrace early in life, that will serve you well through college and beyond, to recognize there is a link, between what's going on around me and how I think and feel.
Okay, so when you said cortisol, first thing
Hmm.
I thought about was weight gain.
Yep.
And
Especially
then
in the belly area.
And when you said cortisol, I also thought about anxiety.
Yeah.
That and as a college instructor, I hear my girls mention anxiety
Stressed out. Yeah.
so many times, and I'm like, okay, so there's a huge correlation here.
Hmm.
Your cortisol levels are spiked. Well, you're anxious about something, your cortisol levels spike, simultaneously,
Hmm.
and then you gain weight, and
Yeah.
then it's like, then you may go into your closet and realize nothing fits. And I
Yeah.
know when I was in college, I started gaining weight because I played college basketball for 2 years, where I was working out anywhere between 2 and 4 hours a day.
Right.
Then my junior year, I graduated from the JUCO I was at, and I went to the University of Arkansas, and guess what? I gained weight. I started gaining weight, and then I was like, I don't have money to
Yeah.
um I don't have money to go buy new pants. And so then it's like my pants are too tight, very few things fit, and I don't have money to go. And would my parents have bought me some pants? Of course they would have. And I was doing college debt free, which I
Hmm.
just wrote an article about. Like, when you're going to school debt free, there's some sacrifices. And one of those sacrifices is you're not going to the Buckle or American Eagle
Yeah.
or wherever to just buy $100 pair of jeans. You're not doing that. And so,
Yep.
like, everything is connected.
It is.
Everything. And I think and the reason I wanted you to be on here was because, like you said, sometimes when we get really stressed out and really anxious, we know we can control our environment, and that's always going to be true to an extent. And
Hmm.
so, for these girls that are going to college, you've told us that these are things that they can do to just start out in the right spot. So having the wardrobe, super important.
Yeah.
And then using the caddy, super important. What are a couple other things that you
Yeah.
think is important?
So I think just in terms of physical, things, I also want to point out that cortisol can disrupt your sleep.
Yeah.
It is our serotonin. And so getting sleep is really, really important, especially in college. One of the things I would highly suggest that you bring with you is a good mattress topper.
Oh, yes.
Pray if it's a Sealy Posturepedic, even a couple inches of a mattress topper is going to help make you feel so much more comfortable and get better sleep.
Hmm.
So that's really the last thing that I would suggest in terms of physical preparation. But I thought I might just talk through a couple of pointers for productivity,
Yes, go
because
for it.
it's all cyclic, right? It's all
Hmm.
interrelated. So one of the most important things that I believe that you can do to help your day go well, and this no matter what age you are, but especially, in college, like I said, it's that halfway house to adulthood. And this is a
Hmm.
time where we're gaining all the knowledge we need to go to the next level. But it's also a great time to really start to ingrain the life skills you need to go to the next level. Do you want to work out to be part of your regular day? Do you want, a healthy meal? Do you want a time to socialize, be part of your regular life? And so for me, one of the best tips, if you don't really listen to anything else that I've said today, I hope you hear me on this. Get up in the morning and make your bed first thing in the morning. When we do that, we're sending a couple of really important messages to the most important person who needs to hear them, ourself, right? So we're saying the time for rest is over and the time for productivity is here.
Yes.
It's so easy to just want to crawl back into that bed when the cover is just laid back and it's all warm and cozy and waiting for you.
Hmm.
And just stand up and make that bed, put a couple of, cute pillows on it. Like I say, you're telling yourself with a strong visual cue, it is time to get busy and to be productive. Also, you've beautified your little corner of the world first thing in the morning, and that's going to feel good. And that's an
Hmm.
important thing. It's an important to have those visual cues, because what is true of the human condition is that success begats success.
Yes.
When you have a win and you have something that's been on your list and you can check it off,
Hmm.
your body, your brain rewards you with a little dopamine release. And when it gets that release, it likes it. And it does it
Hmm.
again. This is why the rats in the lab learn to press the lever, right?
Right.
Because we do the things that give us some kind of a reward. So when we stand up, we make that bed, we get that reward, your brain then, sends you a signal that, yes, I liked that you just did that. I like that you were productive, because our brains are hardwired for productivity.
Yes.
Try to annoy us into productivity sometimes. And that's a whole other topic I could just nerd out forever about this. But that is a very simple, it's going to take you, I have a king size bed, and it takes me usually right at 2 minutes to make the bed and put some pretty little pillows on it and everything. And again, it just spurs you on to the next win, which will spur you on to the next win.
Right.
So, and if you haven't heard anything else, I hope you heard that. Stand up in the morning and make that bed. You sound like someone who's a bed maker. Is that you're like, yes, I feel you. Is that
Yes.
true?
So yes, I am. And just recently though, because I'm sure you've heard the speech. I can't remember what his name is, Admiral something. He wrote a book. It's called Make Your Bed. And it's basically you
Oh,
make your bed and you might just change the world. Or it's something like that. I can't remember. I'm reading it with my son
I'll have to
right now.
put that.
It is so good. But it talks about his theory in it is that um, similar to what you're saying, but getting a win first thing in the morning, you wake
Mm,
up and you've already done something good and right by making your bed and something
yeah.
that is a desirable thing. Then he said after you've worked your butt off all day, you get to come home to a bed that is made and ready for you to crawl into.
What a
And
gift
like
to your.
right, it is. It's just kind of like a little gift to
Yeah.
yourself for later. But I do believe in that, and especially when these girls are going into these small spaces, like it's just so
Mm,
important to do that. And something that I think is really important is minimalism. Being a minimalist, and that is the capsule wardrobe, but it's
mm,
also things like pens and um, pens is obviously something that's on my mind right now because I had a hard time finding a pen today and it frustrated me. But there's a lot of things like that that we use a lot, but we can't ever find one. A bobby pin,
yeah.
ponytails,
Yeah.
stuff like that we use all the
Glasses,
time.
one that I hear a
Hmm.
lot. People lose their sunglasses. I will tell you really quickly my tip for this, and you're probably not going to like it because no one does, because it's not fun. Have one. Have one pair of sunglasses. Guess what? That pair of sunglasses just became precious to you. It is not an easily replaceable commodity, and you will be likely to just plop it down anywhere and walk off and forget it.
That is great advice.
You don't like it. Nope. But guess what? Yeah. The fewer of a thing we as humans have, the more highly we prize that possession. And therefore, the more easy it is to remember where we've put it, because we put it someplace that we knew that we would find it again because it was important to us.
Well said. I agree 100%. So
Yeah.
I love and agree with, no matter how hard it was to hear, everything that everything that you have shared. And I think it's so important. And I just can't say it enough. Like the reason that I became a college success coach and a life coach for these college girls is because I have seen unnecessary stress, unnecessary anxiety. We're gonna have anxiety. If you have anxiety, you're gonna have anxiety. I believe
Sure.
that it's going to be there.
Yeah.
How you manage it is up to you. But if you're a person who has anxiety, don't let your environment contribute to that.
Right.
Take care of what you can take care of. And if
Yeah.
I just want to grab these girls and be like, we can do this. Like
Right.
we can organize your calendar and we can organize
Yeah.
your room and we can do all these things that are going to make you feel okay and feel stable. And I love that you're doing this for everybody of all ages, all genders, everybody, and just offering that service because it is such a blessing to be able to come home to a place that you're proud of and you feel good in, and to find stuff when you need it because you're
Right.
also putting more time back into your schedule. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, you shared a little bit about what you do in the beginning. I am a life coach, but I am not going to come to your dorm and organize it or come to your house. So Amber, if somebody does want your help, now's a great time for these college girls who are going to college, these seniors going to college. It's time to clean things up and to get rid of some stuff, to donate. I'm a huge donator. Like my kids don't play with it for like a couple months, go
Mm-hmm.
into the donations. If I don't wear something, okay, I'm going to start doing that. But if I don't wear something, I'm going to get rid of stuff, which I have got rid of a lot. Okay. But need to work on it, but donate, donate, donate. Tell us how you can help.
Sure. Yep. So anybody who's interested in getting some help with us, whether that is, physically coming into your home and helping you pare down now ahead of time and make
Mm-hmm.
decisions. If it's helping you get packed or and unpacked and organized into the dorm space, if it's working virtually through workshops, on time management, on,
Mm-hmm.
note taking for better products, whatever it might be, we're here for that. You can find us at theorganizerchicks.com. We're also at facebook.com/theorganizerchicks, and on Instagram, it's at _organizer_chicks, and lots of fun, before and afters, and which are inspiring, I think, when you can
Mm-hmm.
see, that before picture and then that after picture. And then, of course, we put out little fun, videos and quick tips and things like that pretty regularly as well.
Yeah. It's so good. And I love it. I love what you're doing. I'm glad that you were here. I just want to
Right.
thank you. And yeah, if you guys are interested in knowing more, I mean, I've looked at your blog. So that's something that I have utilized a lot. So if you're like not really sure if you want to spend money on it, but you need some
Mhm.
help, like that's what that blog is there for, is to
Absolutely.
help people, get these little tips and tricks and inspiration, I think, more than anything, because I feel like that's what you really need to step into that closet
Yeah.
is some
We also
inspiration.
asked. Yeah, same with our podcast. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. So for people who are more auditory learners,
Yes.
or just want, sometimes I think it's nice to have something like while you're getting ready, while you're driving, look for those little nuggets of time where you can do something to be productive. What we know is that,
Hmm.
entertainment is fine, and there's definitely a place for it.
Yes.
But where you can plug in things that are truly going to stretch you and enrich you and educate you, that's a big separator, from those who are truly successful in life. So yeah, we'd love to have anybody who wants to, reach out for help. We're happy to help you, like I say, either in person or virtually. And of course, feel free to check out the blog and check out the podcast as well.
Okay, Amber, I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You bet. Glad to be here with you today.
Bye.